Welcome to RAD Red. It's Michelle Barone, your host, here with Ashley McPherson, my co-host, and my girl, Jamie Tivridge.
Oh, yeah.
How
Jamie's
you doing?
here.
I'm doing great.
We got emotional beauty in the house.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
It's a good day when Jamie's here. Come on.
It is. We're doing In the Red, and that's Jamie's new segment with Red. She's a licensed therapist and all about female and women's empowerment through her brand Emotional Beauty. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to be here. Jamie, the moment has come.
It has come. I have manifested this moment for years.
Yes.
So we are so over the top excited to have Dorinda Medley here.
Yes.
With us tonight.
I'm so happy. You could have just texted me. I would have saved a lot of energy.
I
DM me.
Yeah, I know. You know what, Dorinda? We should have DM'd, but we're really excited to be connected.
I'm excited to be
we
here
were
too.
afraid you would say, "Who are these girls? I don't know these girls."
I
So-
like that. And good news is I was with NBC all day today, so literally I was only like 8 blocks away.
I know.
So it's funny how it all worked out,
Yeah,
right,
it was
Faye?
definitely.
So quickly. Hey guys, before today's episode, I want to talk to you about something that Ashley and I care a lot about, mental health.
That's right. Taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. And Mental Health America of Dutchess County is the perfect place for that help.
Absolutely. Mental Health America of Dutchess County is super empowering and helps so many people with so many problems.
Honestly, it's pretty amazing seeing how mental health actually affects people. I mean, the guests that we've had on the show, we've talked about mental health in almost every episode, and it's a serious topic.
Now's the time to prioritize your mental well-being. If you're suffering from anxiety, depression, or anything mental health related, visit Mental Health America Dutchess County at mhaDutchess.org.
This episode is brought to you by WAVA Water, the smarter way to hydrate. With WAVA, you get more than just water. It's hydration tailored to your busy lifestyle. Need to focus during the workday or a creative session? WAVA has you covered with curated music playlists designed to enhance your concentration and energy. You guys know I have ADD and I cannot focus at all, but when I drink WAVA Water and I listen to their lo-fi beats, suddenly I can focus. It's kind of like I'm cured. Whether you're tackling a big project or just need some clarity, WAVA's hydration and soundscapes help you stay at your best. WAVA is all about fueling your body and mind, so you can take on whatever comes your way. Stay refreshed and motivated with every sip and every beat. Visit wavawater.com to hydrate and find your focus.
So, Dorinda, we want to start right from the top. You know, how'd you get started in the business, getting on TV? Obviously, you love living in New York and just want to know it all. Tell us.
You know, I didn't really get in the business. They kind of got into me. You know, I literally was just friends with all the girls for years. I came to New York, 100 years ago. And then I actually left New York for 10 years. And I had gotten married to my first husband. And I lived in Hong Kong and then London for 10 years. Wow. Yes.
That's cool.
So when I came back to New York City with my daughter, I was getting divorced. And I kind of reconnected with all my New York friends, Ramona. And I actually met Ramona. Re-met her again when my daughters went to Sacred Heart. And we just kind of picked up where we all left off. You know, we're kind of old New Yorkers. We kind of all know each other, and we all were doing the same thing and stuff. Yeah. And they were doing the show. I, at the time, knew about the show, but I couldn't do it. My daughter was young, and I knew her father wanted Hannah to. I just didn't think for me, it was going to work for my daughter to be on a show so young because she couldn't be culpable for what she was saying, and that was going to live forever. I wanted her to be a little older and, be in a situation where she could make the decision. But Ramona just kept saying, and Luann, come on. So I would always be on in the background. And then, I married Richard, and unfortunately he passed. And Ramona came on and said, and Hannah went to college. And she said, can't you finally come on for a year? I said, I'll come on for a year as a friend. And if I like it, I'll stay on. If I don't.
Yeah.
And it just sort of fell into place. Back then, it's really interesting, though. They didn't really go through all the process they go through now. It was really like you kind of got a call. If they liked you, they interviewed you 1 or 2 times and you were on the show. And also, too, I knew all the girls, so it seemed seamless.
Yeah, it's like you were just friends. It was just hanging with your girls.
Yes.
The ultimate girls trip.
And I'm still hanging with them. So, I mean, it's, I think that's what made the show so successful is that they really were and are authentic friendships. And, we really did have a lot of, we kind of grew up together, as far as adulthood, growing up in adulthood, because you kind of grow up as a child to an adult, then you grow up into adulthood. And we just went through a lot together, and I feel like people could relate to us.
It seems so organic back then.
It was.
I think it's very different now. And,
Very.
It's very different. But when I am an original show watcher as well, it seems so organic. And that's one of my questions for you, was that I admire you so much because of that. You're so authentic.
Yes.
And always, you were chatting before about manifesting, and for me, the delight and honor in meeting you is because you are one of the rare that just, to me, radiates your emotions. You girls had your dramas and your ups and downs, but even though the public eye was upon you, you embraced everything you went through, and you were not afraid to show those raw emotions. We don't see that a lot anymore.
No, and I always say that the housewives, the old school housewives, are some of the bravest women I know, because they really were willing to put it out there, and then they take it, they edit it, and they put it, then they give it to the audience. And then the audience can do whatever they want with it. Love you, hate you, learn from it. I have found that the audience is two things. It's very tolerant. It's very emotional, but it's very forgiving.
Yeah. That's good to know.
Yeah.
'Cause you never know if it's, you're going through it and then all of a sudden it's like, oh God, did I just ruin my life
Yeah.
forever?
No. They don't. I think and I think at the end of the day, I think good women, or not good women, but women that are teachers and people that want to share their life, they have to be a mirror to someone else. And a lot of times when women sometimes don't like what you're saying or doing, it's because they see a lot of themselves in you.
That's so true.
And you can be a teacher through it because you're a little older, you've been through it, and they walk away from it and think, well, maybe she's right. Maybe that was helpful.
That's a true. I never thought
Very
about it
true.
like that. They're not seeing the good. They're seeing the bad side of themselves.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Right.
And we did that, like I remember when Carol and I went on that trip to London, and we really talked about, for the first time, we were kind of the first two to ever really talk about losing our husbands. The outpour of women, because for us, it was a very different situation. We hear widow, we hear people lose their husbands, but it really is something that's really been saved for the elder.
Yeah.
So to see two young women that lost their husbands opened up a world where there are a lot of women in this world that are young. And what do we call those women? Because you can't call them a widow, because that's for old people.
Yeah.
So we kind of redefined what that looked like for women. And we got so many people reach out to saying, I'm so happy you talked about this. Because you don't, listen, when you're 80, 85, not that you want to go, but you lose a partner, it's sort of the process of life. Mm-hmm. Yep. And society is very tolerant to that, because but when you run into a woman that's 45, 46 and she's lost her husband, people don't know where to place you.
Right.
Correct.
And it can even make them awkward. I remember one person said to me once, well, maybe if you're going to start dating again, don't talk about your dead husband. And I'm like, well,
why would I?
How do I do it? Because he was my husband.
Right, what
and
do I
he is
talk
dead.
about? Yeah.
So do I have to lie?
Do I need to find a man that has a dead wife? I mean,
It's far easier for a woman to talk about divorce and failure in divorce, or leaving a situation, or non-failure, but the working out, or the traumas in divorce, than it is for a woman to talk about the loss of a husband.
And I
it
think,
makes people awkward.
and you're absolutely right. And I think women do well, like you said, you and Carol, you connected over the grief. Mm-hmm. You had, unfortunately, that in common, because it was both tragic for both of you. But I think when other women look at you and they see, listen, she's been through this, she's grieving, but she's strong, and Carol is the same way, it gives other women permission to feel, something, I can feel the
Permission
same way.
for everything.
We-
Permission
we-
to grieve.
Yes.
Because we come from a society, and I talk about this a lot, I just did the podcast with what was Fonzie's name? Henry Winkler's.
Oh, the
Winkler.
Winklers.
Henry Winkler's daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've watched that.
Yeah,
The
and
Winklers.
she does a lot about loss because her friend, the one that was 90210, is no longer with us. And I just said, people feel like, I don't know if it's fear, if it's not understanding. It's like pregnancy. You're pregnant for 9 months, but no one really tells you anything about it.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a second, what's that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because no one tells you anything.
Yeah, why is that?
And grief is like that too.
They're afraid to tell us.
And when you peel it back and you say to people, like some people will, be quick to say, but I'm okay now. Well, you don't have to be okay now. Being okay and not and moving on are not commingled. You can not be okay and still move on and
Two
still
things
move
can be
forward.
true.
Two things can be true. But I always say to people now, it's 13 years and there's still days. I know it's somewhere in there. It's smaller. I've grown bigger around grief. I have made a new life, new friends, and I'm so blessed for that. But there are still days where I walk when something happens, something triggers me, and I think, God, I really wish Richard were here.
Yeah.
So I don't think grief ever goes away. It's not
Agreed.
a cut that heals.
I 100% agree with that.
I always say to people who come in for grief, I say, first of all, there's no right way to grieve. There's no wrong way to grieve.
Yep.
And you don't get over it, you get through it.
That's
Yep.
it.
Otherwise, you're erasing the
And it
memory of a
hurts.
beautiful man.
It hurts. There's no solution. You don't. And I used to not laugh, but I remember when Richard, because I'm telling you, people are fearful of grief. They don't know what to do with it. I would walk down Park Avenue sometimes, and people would come up to me and say, "How you doing?" I'm like, "What?" Like, what? I don't. Good. I mean, you're like. I don't.
Great.
Are you doing this for you or me? Because I don't think you really want to know how I'm doing. Because I'm doing terrible. I'm not sleeping. I cry all the time. I can't figure out how I'm going to go along. And my whole world, as I knew it and had planned on it to be going forward, has dissipated.
Yeah.
How about you? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
I always say to people, when people around you go through something like that, don't ask those kind of questions. Just say, is there anything I could do for you?
Yeah.
Is there any area of your life you need me right now?
That's an amazing way to phrase it. And it's an awesome perspective. Mental Health America of Dutchess County is a big supporter of RED. They're a big partner of ours. And grief is a big piece of what they cope with, It comes with so many things you just don't think about till you're in it, right? And when it happens at a young age, again, you were a young widow, if you will. I was a young girl when my father passed away. When things happen when you're young, you really have, what I think it taught me was a great affinity for life and gratitude. I am so happy to live every day.
Because it's a break in the normal timeline.
Yes.
It's not supposed to happen.
Yep.
And, we all think we're going to live forever. My mother, who's sort of like a really wonderful, straightforward, she's the one I really get most of my sayings from. She made me laugh so hard the other day because it was actually last summer, we were going by this graveyard, and I said, it's so sad, all those people. She goes, well, don't get too sad because we're all going to be joining them soon.
There's a party.
Eventually, they're all going to be our friends, so don't feel too sad. And I thought but that generation is in full acceptance of the life process and
Right.
where they are. I'm not saying they want to die, but
yeah.
and I was like, she's kind of absolutely right. But when it breaks the timeline and it happens early, I think there's a shift, there's a rip.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
Absolutely.
So no one knows how to handle it, and you don't know how to handle it. But I do think the power in grief is that, I always say to people, cry, because it's such a gift to be so sad over someone, because it meant you love them so much.
Yeah.
You can't cry that much if you didn't love so much. And what a blessing that you could love this
it's
deeply.
a sacred memory of what you've had with that person.
And you
it's
really-
a sacred memory.
You start to realize that, it's not the end. Especially, you can't be religious or spiritual and think that they were just a body.
Right.
Yeah, I think I saw some quote that was like grief is just like all the love like you couldn't give or something, like
Yeah.
because the person passed away. And I was like, yeah.
Love that. We had a woman on the show that lost her boyfriend due to cancer, who she was going to marry at 22 years old. I believe she was very young. And oh my God, she's made a whole TikTok, a huge presence because of it. and which is terrible, but it's true. And
But it raised so much awareness.
I think grief should be spoken about. It's part of our lives.
It is.
I think it should be spoken. I mean, when you look at ancient cultures, they don't have the taboos about it the way we do. It's very accepted in ancient cultures, especially in Native American. And
corporate, you get 2 days off if your aunt dies. It's like, okay, well, I grew up with this person, they raised me, and I get 2 days.
Right.
So it's like, you got to move on. Actually, I just had a really good friend of mine who, actually her mom committed suicide. She had to go to inpatient 10 years later to get the help she needed. She never grieved. And it builds up, and then it could ruin your life, right? So
then she's going to have mental illness.
Right.
Yeah. So the cycle keeps going.
Yes, 100%.
Everything that I believe that every day is a teaching tool, and every day is meant to be, for teaching. I'm a big women's advocate myself. I mean, I have a very strong daughter and a very strong mother. And I just think we have to keep breaking all these taboos, breaking all these fears, keep sharing information, which sadly women aren't great at.
Yeah.
Sadly, they've gotten better. And I see in my daughter's generation, they're even better at it. Because I think, not that there is I think women are happily, or maybe my daughter's generation, really realizing and understanding their power.
Yeah.
And how powerful a community of women are.
Yeah.
And I agree. And one of the reasons why I began Emotional Beauty is because I've seen that in so many women. And I'm seeing it with younger women as well, teenagers, where they're afraid to step into that empowerment.
It's true.
And it's okay. And it's okay. And the more you surround yourself with women that feel good and love life and are okay to say, hey, today, Michelle, I'm having a bad day. Right. I'm going to shed some divine tears and I'm going to plug through it. We have to learn as women that we can move forward, even if it's one minute at a time, and also share that with others.
I think we have to, as women, surround ourselves by other powerful, worthy women. I say this generally for people, but I have a daughter, so for me, it's the voice is always in the her, right?
Right.
But I read a really interesting study, and I believe this. My mother always said, show me your friends, and I'll show you who you are. She used to always say that to me. Don't be hanging around with that one. You know what they say, show me your friends and show me who you are. And she was always right.
Yeah.
Okay? Because my mother was one of those crazy Italians that said these things, rolling out something, and she was always right. I'd think, that's not true. And
you are the
long
company
behold,
you keep.
You are the company you
keep.
There was a study, I'm really fascinated by all these neurological studies they're doing now with neuroscientists and stuff, and how they're relating it to body and health and the rhythms of your organs. But one of the studies, they did a study, and I found it so fascinating and applicable to, I told it to my daughter, I said, so you hang around with this. They took a group of people and they put them around, for 25 days, they put them around highly intelligent, highly emotionally connected people. They found that over this 25 days, their brain stimulation and base intelligence increased as much as 12%.
Wow.
Okay. They did the same thing with another group, with caustic people, negative people, people that weren't interested in learning, for 25 days, and the neurological brain and intelligence decreased as much as 33%.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
what does that
crazy.
tell you? It's a little bit like you are what you eat.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's true.
It's so true. You are who you hang out with. Like
It is.
I
It
think
is.
a million examples.
I know for me, I want to be a magnet, a healthy magnet for other women.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be, and I don't want to pretend that I've never been through rough times. I want women to know I've been through those times, and that's where I've gained a lot of my emotional strength. The same with you.
Yep.
You've gained some emotional strength with what you've been through.
Especially with reality TV.
Oh,
those
yes.
producers probe
Yeah,
you.
hello.
What was it like on set?
I didn't. ever find it difficult.
No, you were just like, well, because you did your thing. You had your sayings, right? To make it nice.
I just didn't care.
You didn't care.
Because I don't really care what Sally and Cynthia thinks of me. I live my authentic life. If you don't like it, don't follow me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to know who I didn't know before.
She's me.
She stays
And
true.
I'm not going to know you after.
You do as well.
And the thing is, I speak my truth. I stand behind my truth. If I make a mistake, I say I'm sorry. I don't claim to be perfection.
Right.
I claim to be human. Overall, in the macro, I probably am going to make it into heaven. You know, St. Peter's probably going to say that micro shit was not great. But on a macro level, you're lit entry.
Shout out to our incredible partner, Steve Prohashka from BigSteveBigMoves.com. He has a book called From Orphan to Millionaire, where he shares his incredible story about becoming a millionaire after being an orphan. If you're ready to elevate your mindset, master resilience, and make big moves in life and business, make sure you check out BigSteveBigMoves.com, where you can find his book. And if reading isn't enough, Steve takes it to the stage. He's a dynamic public speaker. He delivers game-changing talks on partnerships, leadership, success, and overcoming obstacles. Steve is one of a kind and completely dynamic. So if you're looking for a speaker that will change the game for your event and beyond, make sure you check out BigSteveBigMoves.com and Big Steve Big Moves on Instagram.
Looking to make a statement for your brand? Need the perfect custom merch for Mother's Day? Let's Bag It's got you covered, literally.
From high quality custom bags to amazing jewelry, you don't want to miss out this Mother's Day. Get your mom a gift they actually want.
Check them out today and get ready to take your brand to the next level.
So why settle for ordinary when you can bag it in style?
Check them out at letsbagitonline.com and get ready to revamp your style.
Hey.
All right, listen up, party people. Fridays at Mahoney's Irish Pub are where the vibes are high, the drinks are flowing, and the weekend officially begins. If you're looking for the ultimate night out, Mahoney's has got you covered with killer drink specials, live DJs, and crowds that know how to bring the energy. Whether you're sipping on an ice cold beer, toasting with a perfectly mixed cocktail, or taking a shot to kickstart the night, this is the spot to be. Every Friday, starting at 10 p.m. So grab your crew, hit the dance floor, and make some memories the Mahoney's way. Doors open late, the drinks are cold, music's hot. What more do you need? I'll see you guys this Friday and every Friday at Mahoney's Pub, where the weekend starts the right way.
How do you sleep at night? Like, I'm a people pleaser, right? And well, not a true people pleaser based on Jamie's definition.
Yeah,
but I love people.
you.
And I love making sure everyone's accommodated for and taken care of. And I like to please other people because it helps me feel comfortable. Not because I'm not confident.
Oh no, she's very confident.
I love
She's very
myself,
confident.
too.
She just
There's
doesn't want anyone to ever be mad at her.
Or be upset.
But I'm
Sometimes
like-
people have to be, you
Right.
know, but that sometimes comes at the cost of your discomfort.
It does.
And I always say that to a couple of friends. You know, I had a situation happen the other day, and my friend had been put in the same situation by the same person. And I am very about just, you know, women we've been taught to be polite our whole life.
Yeah.
Don't be, you know, that's why a lot of kids are targeted to get kidnapped when they're small, because we teach our kids to be polite. Doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to just be truthful.
Yep.
That's
you know,
right.
you wouldn't put your hand over a fire and keep burning it and just keep smiling at someone. You'd say, "My hand is burning." You know what I mean? And we, especially, not to make this women focused, but we as women, we're really good at keeping our hand over the fire and letting it burn and not yell her out.
That
It's
is
burning.
such a great analogy, and I needed that today.
So I've gotten most comfortable with it now, but I'm more comfortable. I'm someone that wants to nurture and help people, but I've always been very good about not doing it at the cost of myself. I've been always very concerned about myself and self-serving, and never had a problem about it. But I did that because I didn't grow up with a lot of resources. I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I didn't grow up with a lot of connections. So I knew that if I didn't consistently and constantly put myself forward and make the world believe and know that I'm number one, I was going to end up back in Great Barrington.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine, by the way. I would have been perfectly happy married to, the chief police at Great Barrington, but I was thinking bigger at the time.
Girl, you
know?
are speaking. So I live in a small town of Poughkeepsie. I love all my folks out there. I did an event called First Friday Poughkeepsie. We had 3,000 people attend, and I killed myself to make that town great. And then I realized, like, I'm so much bigger than this place. I got to get out. I am ready. So I'm 41. Okay, I've been doing this for 20 years. 20 years in this business, going here, doing this manager, that. And I'm finally like, you know what? I'm getting out. I want to move somewhere. I'm ready. I'm taking my family. We're doing something different. And I've always
it
felt
up.
that. I've always
Well,
felt
listen, because, we have an inner guide that tells us. And, haven't you ever noticed, too, you especially see it in a lot of reality stars with people, there's some people that just, they walk in and they let you know who they are.
Yes.
To sometimes an annoyance.
Right.
But somehow you stand up and you pay attention. Especially I see women and they kind of get what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the
They do.
They get what they want. Usually in relationships, in careers. They're not mean. They're just like, I'm not
Sure.
putting up. Yeah, sure.
They're sure.
And I've had to master that a little bit better. And I was going back to the story with our friend of ours, and I just, when the person started something, I said, I will not be around a person that in order for me to respond, I have to change how I feel about it. You're taking away choices from me, so therefore I cannot make a good decision.
Yep.
I will only make a good decision when I am free to make the choices. My friend was put in the same situation, and she leaned into it and then followed what this person needed her to do because she was afraid to insult him.
And then what
And in
happens,
the end, he ended up insulting her.
See?
yeah, and we become resentful, and we turn into someone we don't like. That has happened, and I love your sense of place. Everyone who has a sense of place, that's not selfish. As a therapist, I have women that come in that will say to me, well, I'm making changes and I'm putting myself first or ahead of toxic people and weeding my garden, which is a favorite of mine. Yep. And now my family and friends are angry at me. And they should be, because you are moving yourself away from that and you're having good, solid boundaries.
Listen, with growth, and any time I've had huge amounts of growth, especially growth that has brought me, well, in both times when I've had growth that's brought me amazing success, or growth where I've had loss, I've lost people. Because people don't like to see you get successful. And then
It's sad.
and there's also people that when you're down, they disappear. But in those moments are the biggest learning curves, like, oh, I get it. And when things change, you know what? I'm going to remember. Because I'm very Italian like that, because I'm slightly vengeful. You know?
No, totally. I mean, it's like when things change around, like things change inside you, things change around you. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that same thing. It's like
Always
people around
remember, you're young. Always remember, and you are too, but always remember.
But
But
you're not.
boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are a healthy part of what we need. And we need people on the outside of those boundaries. And then we can, when you're my age, I think Dorinda and I are around the same age, we have more years behind us than we do ahead of us. And for me, it's invitation only right
Yeah.
now in my life. I want to live the best life moving
And
forward.
I always say to Hannah, plant the garden you want to grow. And a lot of women, I see it happen. I always say to Hannah, if you want a steak, order a steak. Don't order a hamburger and then get angry when you get a steak. If you want a bed of roses, don't plant tulips. Ask for what you want. Be clear about what you want. So when you get it, you're not surprised, because you see it a lot of times. People set low expectations and then they're angry that they didn't get the results.
That is such a great point. And, if you're not into manifestation or that stuff, because that's a spiritual side of a person, that's a more business side, a more realistic, I don't know what the right word is, because I do manifest and believe in that. But it's the same thing, right? You can't have a false expectation of where you're headed. If you say, well, like you said, that the burger steak analogy was perfect. You want the filet mignon, get the filet
Just
mignon.
order it.
Yeah, and be done. And you know what? Keep fueling the fire to get what you want.
If and people will tell you who they are. They'll take the billboard of bad behavior and good behavior out pretty quickly. But women will look at that advertisement and be like, I can change it. Well, man, I don't know. I'm sure they're really not like that. The billboard tells you. And when you buy the product, you take it home.
Yeah, it's so true.
And I also think we have to stop expecting ourselves from other people. You cannot walk into a bakery and order a pork chop. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
When we go into relationships, whether it's friendships or work relationships or any relationships, we cannot go in and expect we're going to get who we are, because we're completely different people from other people.
Well, that's right. And I also think, I don't think it's wrong to, listen, my grandmother would always say to me, it's as easy to fall in love with a rich man as it is to fall in love with a poor man. Now, obviously, that was the old Italian way of saying it. But I do think there's a world, I laughed one day so hard because my mom used to say to me, because, my mom, who never had the opportunity to go to college she was going to go to secretarial scale, and she ended up meeting my father at 18 and getting married. So she I was her grand hope to get out of Great Britain and make something of yourself, because my mother is brilliant and beautiful and happy. But she always says in front of my father, well, if I didn't marry your father, I would have been a great secretary, probably for IBM. I'm like, but you married Dad, so be happy with that, right?
I'm here.
But my mother's like, just remember, if you want to you find an elephant, don't go to the ocean.
That's right.
If you want to find a whale, don't go to the jungle.
That's
Hunt
why-
what you go.
That's why we're going to
Go
LA.
I feel like I'm learning a lot today.
Go find the animal. Go to the environment where the animal is. And when you're dating, make sure you have to figure out what animal you want to marry. And I always thought about that, and Hannah and I laughed, because it's not even wrong to say, listen, there are a lot of women out there that are just opportunists and only want to marry men for superficial reasons or insincere reasons. But there's also a group of women, I consider my daughter one of them, that is brilliantly smart. She's got she's getting her PhD at Harvard.
Wonderful.
She's beautiful. She comes from generationally a good family. She's religious. She's kind. Why can't she choose in her mind who she thinks is a worthy candidate?
I think that's fine. I say this to her all the time. You're beautiful, you're smart, you have all these things. And I don't think you should settle. I think you should go way high, and that's the only way you're going to get someone who's even worthy at all.
And think
right?
about the children you have with that person. I wanted Hannah's father to be successful and provide a nice life for her and provide opportunities that I never had growing up.
And it's interesting that you say that. I think it's all about that. Like, I think my friend group is always about like the small town, marrying the chief of police or whatever that.
Which is great.
It's
and I would have been
wonderful.
very happy, but I think I wanted more
Yeah.
Well,
when I
that's
was younger.
the thing. But I don't think people resonate to that with me, and it's hard to have good adult friends because I'm looked at as almost like I'm foolish. And I'm like, but you guys aren't in the actual real world. Like, I go to the real world, and they don't think I'm crazy. They think I'm normal.
It's who you surround yourself with, though, because like you're out here and we hang out with like our other friends that like do influencing or like in the public eye, and like
Or
that's
who
normal.
have done it.
Right?
And she's like, I felt that from a small town, but I've made it big. And now you've had lasting impacts on so many women, through your sayings, through your moments, through your first girls trip with your 8 besties, right?
Yeah.
On the show. What were those moments like for you? And what was your most iconic moment?
Listen, I loved being on the show. I mean, when they put me on pause, I wasn't one of these ones that was saying, well, this year, I just think I'm going to take a year off. They had to get a poker stick and drag me off. I mean,
You didn't want to go
and I shouted it out the wall. They had PR people call me saying, what you're going to say, because you're going to come back, is just say that you're taking. I'm like, no. I'm like, they let me go. And that was
That's right. Be honest.
I'm really upset about it.
She said she's a real housewife. She's gonna be real. That's what happened.
And literally, they were like, can't you candy quit? I'm like, no. And then people say, some person said, I just think you're so thirsty. You only just want to go back to the show. I'm like, oh no, I'll be clear. I want to go back to the show. But I have no problem with that. I liked filming. I was good at it.
Yeah.
It was
Fun.
fun.
Yes.
It was like being back in college. I could be a communal liver. I mean, I like people and
But
women.
you were great because you were real.
Yeah.
And the stuff you said had me dying. You had me laughing, all of your sayings.
It is. It's that organic, just authenticity about you that not just myself, but other women that would watch the show. They're like, can I say this? Dorinda is a. I mean, you just radiate.
Well, I always say to people, because I live on the Upper East Side, and people always think I'm this Upper East Sider, but because my I'm Italian and Polish. I'm like Gangster and Gucci. You just scratch the surface. I had something happen the other day where something happened and I was like, oh, you really don't want to do that with me. Because although this looks very nice, underneath can be a real nightmare.
Right, don't cross
Gangster and
me. Yeah.
Gucci's the name of the episode.
Stop. That's actually really good. Yeah.
I just love Pixie Beauties on the.
Hold on a second, I'm not ready yet.
Oh, geez, Ash, seriously?
Are you kidding? Have you seen how my skin has been glowing lately? I'm not stopping.
I mean, seriously, Pixie Beauty products are for every day, and they are the best. I love the Glow Tonic. It's become a staple in my skincare.
I love that product. I use it every day before I do my skincare, and honestly, it's like brightens my face, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, a guest commented today on how beautiful you looked and that you were dewy and glowy, and it's all because of Pixie.
Honestly, Pixie products just know how to make you feel beautiful in your own skin.
My favorite is the Pixie On The Glow blush. It is so much fun. You can just stick it right on, take it out. It's just one of my favorites. It's so much fun, and it looks so good on.
Honestly, it gives you like a nice sun-kissed glow. I absolutely love it, and it's going to be great for summer. If you guys want to glow this summer just like us, visit www.pixiebeauty.com.
Asunta, I have to say, ever since I've been going to Derma Laser Center, my skin has never looked better. What's your secret?
Thank you, Michelle. I'm so glad you're happy. So basically, our treatments are tailored to every client's unique needs. It's all about personal care. And we're just here to help you achieve long-term skin health.
Oh, I love that. And I love that it's unique to everyone. You know, that's really important. I have to say, I get compliments on my skin all the time.
That's the best feedback we can get, honestly. Whether you're coming in for a laser hair removal treatment, a facial, or a skincare consultation, we're here to help all our clients feel confident in their skin.
I have to say, for me, it's been a game changer. You know, I always feel like I look fresh and refreshed, and it's because of the treatment. You know, whether it's laser hair removal or it's facials, all of the things that you do really help support me. So thank you so much, and I just love you, Asunta.
I love you. Thank you. We're here to help everyone glow. For anyone interested in finding out more information about our services at Derma Laser Center, you can visit our website at dermalasercenterny.com. We'd love to help you achieve your best skin and smoothest results ever.
Get glowing. But I will say, traders,
Sad.
I know. What happened?
It was so well.
I mean, come on.
Bob the drag queen killed
How
it.
was that though?
Right.
What was the experience like?
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it was incredible to go to Scotland. And I feel another one, I cried and cried because I really was so excited about, first of all, I was kind of excited about dropping out for 3 weeks. Like for everyone else, they're like, you can't have your phone. You can't. I was like, that's great.
Like I could use
Right?
it. Yeah.
I have an excuse. Leave me alone. Goodbye. If Hannah, if anything happens, just
Yes,
call the
I'll
producer.
call
See
you
ya.
once a week.
Right, my calls are
'Cause,
forwarded to your phone.
We're old enough to remember when there were no phones.
Yeah.
And
I
you
am
survived just well. Just great. You know,
was great.
It was
I
great.
miss the busy signal.
Yeah.
Like when you would call your friends. Oh, they're
I missed when you got home at night at 6 and that was it. You didn't
Yeah.
talk to anybody till the next day or
Yeah.
just your family, you know?
Yeah.
I think with traders, when I watched that and you were first of all, I was devastated.
I
You
know.
know me. I'm like, I know why I know because she's intimidating.
She
They're
would've
like-
won it.
They're like, they're getting rid of her because they know darn well
Yeah,
she's
she's
the
gonna carry
one that's
on.
going to make it right through the end. So, yeah.
Well, I didn't. I got murdered first. I was
Yeah.
Well,
stunned. I was horrified and embarrassed, of course, because another thing about me is I'm so competitive. I just
Yeah.
don't lose. You know,
Yeah.
losing, it's a really, hard for me. So I was like, what? And, and also too, I had so many beautiful clothes. I had so many. I mean, my outfits, I should just post those because
You should.
yeah, I had all my old Alexander McQueen,
Beautiful.
my original Vivienne Westwood, Alaya, when I used to go to his house in Paris and walk up 6 floors and get it from him. I broke it all
you look
out.
beautiful.
Oh my
I love-
God.
Oh,
Oh my
know.
Please, there's the first thing I said when she walked in, like, I want you to style me. I love your outfit. I'm
Yeah,
so
exactly.
serious.
Good. So
Well, I
good.
attacked her right off the bat when she got off the elevator because I was
Jimmy,
taking,
that sounds like a threat.
I was taking my Sanabello walk because if it wasn't for Dorinda, I would not have had the procedure, and it is
What
an
was it like?
amazing procedure.
Really?
And thank you to
I
Dorinda.
have to say, Sonia Bello is, and I'm so happy that you did that. I can't wait to tell everybody. It is amazing. It's laser lipo, and it's just for, listen, I just turned 60. I'm actually in quite good shape. I
Yeah.
work out. I do the shakes. I take the NAD. I mean, I do it all.
How is NAD?
I take it internally, and I actually get the shot. as well. I mean, I actually
wanna
get
get
the
it.
IV.
I wanna do it.
I actually moved on to niacin, which is the stronger version. But like I take glutathione, I take
Yeah.
glutathione spray. If you saw my kitchen, you would think I was Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
My mother always says, "You're not gonna live forever." I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna try."
I'm gonna do my best. Yeah.
Work to do here. We have to.
Yeah, right.
Just like that too. The
Yeah.
only thing I have to do is.
But
NID.
son, I
Thank you.
couldn't get rid of that postmenopausal little pockets.
That's how I am.
Post little pocket. I had
going.
like this. So I actually, it's a funny story. Wasn't originally going to collab with them. It's so funny. I had watched a commercial and I thought, I'm going to see if they have an office in New York City and I'm going to book an appointment. So I go into Sonobello, literally on 31st Street, and they're like, what? Because I'm like, yeah, my name's Dorinda Medley and I want to book an appointment. They're like, can you please hold?
Hold on.
Because
That's great.
did you book it through? I said, I just got your address through the website. They're like, could you hold on?
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden the brand manager gets involved. They're making calls and then they want to collab with me. You know
Oh,
what I
that's
mean?
great.
So it actually was a very much, for me, a sincere thing I
Yeah.
wanted to do. And the recovery is so easy.
Did you have a scar?
Nothing. It's little, because it's laser now. There's no more of that
Does
crazy.
it take out all the cellulite?
It just takes all that diet-resistant fat out. And it never comes back.
I walked
amazing
right in. I walked
science.
in and I said, I
And
want
it
the Dorinda
contours you.
Medley
You know that
special.
it contours your waist. It just, I wish I could do it every year.
We're
I
gonna
wish I
get
could take
Michelle to do it.
I wish I
I'm
could
gonna go in
take
tomorrow after this
I wish I could
conversation.
take a whole group of women and we could do a Sonobello retreat, get ourselves trimmed up once a year, the little bits and bobs taken out.
Listen, let's go. I'm in. Let's pitch it to him.
Sonobello summer.
Sonobello, I'm red.
Yes, absolutely. And we need Nurse Betty.
And
with
Nurse
us.
Betty and Dr.
Dr. Berger.
He's
was
amazing.
great.
I like Dr.
I busted
Do you know
right
he
in
has
there.
a office right here on Park Avenue?
I did not know that.
I just can't. How do you know the difference though of Sonobello or tummy tuck? Like,
Oh, you know the difference.
Well, tummy tuck, they
tuck's
do the big
invasive.
cut and they
Yeah.
do the
but
big
how do,
thing.
they, how do you
This
know what
was-
you need?
Well, they look at it and how much weight. I mean, for me, it was just a matter of tweaking some like little bits
Moments, yeah,
that
it
I
is.
couldn't get rid of. I did the leg lifts, the bands, the Pilates, the pounding, the this, and I just was like, it was just so they only took out I think about 3 pounds, 2.5 pounds.
Wow.
But it was only in these crucial areas.
Yeah.
And it was really just diet resistant fat that I couldn't. And I'm not going to lie to you, it boosts your confidence. Your clothes feel better. I was even thinking, I was just in Jamaica. I had put on my bathing suit. And I thought, I don't feel like I need to hide anything.
And that's great. And like that's like for a benefit for your mental health too.
it
really
Like,
is.
absolutely.
I was like, because you always,
Absolutely.
after my postmenopause, I had just this little saddlebag thing. I'm like, yuck! You know what I mean? No matter what I did.
Right. And I'm sure you looked fine, but you still want to feel confident in your own body.
I
Of
put on my
course.
little Eris bathing suit piece, and I was like, "Look at you, girl. You don't even really need a cover up there now." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
it. I
So
can't
you,
wait.
when you go, you get the Dorinda Medley special.
Yes, you
they
do.
treat you
well,
like
if you
a
ever want to
queen.
go, just tell me, and I'll
I want to
set it
go.
up.
I'm
Yes.
going. I want
Let's
to do it
do
all.
it.
Do it all.
I'm so thank you for that. 'cause
Well,
it is a confidence
and I
booster.
don't do a lot of collabs because I do the ones I really believe in.
Yeah. Very
That's
cool.
what makes it better collabs. So like I say the same thing when I do collabs. I'm like, I will only do something I believe in because if not, like it's not
You don't
authentic.
want to open up someone's Instagram and see a.
No,
Yeah.
and you don't want to see a million ads because it's
No.
like, oh, you're just trying to sell me on something.
That's it.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's got to be something you really feel.
Right,
authentically.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
do. I told them the other day, Rachel. I said I want to do like a Instagram live on their webpage.
You
so every
should.
woman can come and ask me any question they want. And
You
I will
should.
tell them. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that would be like great marketing for them too, though,
Yeah.
because like people want like a customer
Yeah, ask
review.
me the question. I'll tell you
Yeah.
the answer.
They want the answers. Absolutely.
I have one question.
ask.
Just one. How do they tighten the skin without, like, while doing, like, what, doesn't it hang?
Well, it's different. Everything's different. I didn't have skin tightening. I just had these fat pockets taken out. So I didn't
but
have
then
such
what
a-
happens when the fat pocket's out? Does it deflate?
Mine did. I mean, I didn't
does it
have so
do?
mujust. I just had little bits.
Your skin
I don't
just
know what
sits-
happened.
I think it depends, like going in with the surgeon too, and
Yeah.
having them like decide.
Yeah.
Yes, it depends what you need. I
mean,
had
they
an-
drew-
I had an Abex,
Yeah.
which was the 3-parter, and they took the skin and then they were kind enough to take a picture of it and show it to me. I feel great. I feel
loved it.
wonderful.
And what are you, like a week out right now?
No.
Today is 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Today.
Oh, well, let's put it this way. I had mine done on a Thursday. I was back in my apartment. I checked myself into a hotel, which I didn't really need to do, but I was like, Mona, let's just go to the
Relax
plaza
a
and
little.
stay at the
Yeah,
hotel. You know, the palace. Let's treat it as a... And we got there at like 3:30. I took a nap till 6, and then I went out and had dinner. I didn't
Wow.
go dancing.
Yeah, right.
And have wine, but we went, I walked, I had dinner, and the next morning I got up and took a walk in the park.
That's amazing.
Today is 2
amazing.
weeks for me.
Wow.
2 weeks. And I'm parading around. Like I said, I was in the hallway.
You
doing
do
my-
Yeah.
wear the bodysuit for a
Right.
while, but
I
gotta
call
tell you
it the
something.
super suit.
I love that fucking bodysuit.
I do too.
I still wear mine. I'm like, I don't have to wear it anywhere. I like anything that suctions you in.
And they gave,
Love that
and
shit.
they give you free. They give it. Well, I'm sure in the end you're paying
Yeah.
for it. But they ordered me another one. And
Yes.
it's wonderful. I call it my super suit.
You literally, you have
I
to,
love that.
to get in that thing is like another level. But once you're in,
Yes.
you're like,
going.
I am
That's it.
ready
Sign me up.
to go.
That's how I feel about this bodysuit I got on TikTok shop.
Yes.
It's so small. My mom got it for herself. She got a medium. It is literally looks like a child's extra small. I do not know how. You know what I'm talking about? The
Over. Oh, I'll
TikTok
get
one.
that on me.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
That's
thank
the
you
level
so
up.
much, Dorinda, for coming on, for sharing
I'm
your
honored
experience.
to
I want to
be
leave you
here.
with
Thank
one
you.
question. If you were to give advice to anyone looking to get into reality TV, what would it be?
Well, I think what I would say to them, be ready, because once you're on, it changes your life forever. There is no going back. So make sure you really want to do it, and you have that. You don't have every skeleton in your closet will come out. You got to make sure your family is on board with it, because their lives changed drastically. And that if you're going to go on, you really have to understand that it's out of your control. You can't really control it. I mean, you can to a point, but it's given to a lot of hands touch it. And by the time people see it, it's really out of your control. So if you want to get into it, I guess, I don't know. I think you just have to be an interesting person and pitch to networks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it is a lifestyle change. You will never, once that Pandora's out of the box, it doesn't go back in.
That's great to know. Well, thank you so much, Dorinda Medley.
But it's a huge opportunity for anyone.
It is. Check it out. And Dorinda, where can people find you online?
Well, at Instagram, Dorinda Medley, at TikTok, Dorinda Medley NYC, Facebook, Dorinda Medley. And they can catch me on Sirius XM 4 days a week, Radio Andy at 4 o'clock.
Let's go, baby.
Yes, and then, hopefully, God knows, anywhere else. Pull me up on Peacock. I'm going to live there forever.
We love you, Dorinda. Thank
We
you
do
so
love
much.
you, and I want to thank you so much
I love
for
you.
just radiating your emotional beauty.
Thank you.
And Jamie, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, emotional_beauty_, Facebook, TikTok, and my website, which is youremotionalbeauty.com.
You can check me out at Michelle Barone online on Instagram, TikTok, and MichelleBaroneOnline.com. Ash?
You guys can find me at Ash McPherson, 2 H's on all socials, and you can find our podcast at Michelle Barone Red on Instagram.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.